keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, keys to the city, we unlocking the statements.
Streaming every Friday.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Clovercrest Media presents Keys to the City. We're streaming on all social media platforms at Keys to the City. So subscribe, comment, share, or like. And as well, you can follow the Joseph Aguirre at Podcaster Joe or at Clovercrest Media. Let's talk some baseball. A lot going on this week. A huge series for the New York Yankees against the Boston Red Sox. We'll also be talking some NBA playoffs. Can Trae Young and Paul George lead their teams to an NBA Finals unlike anything we maybe have ever seen? The Clippers and Hawks? Could it be a possibility? We'll talk about that with me and Ted later on because I know Joe has to go take care of some business. But let's talk about the New York Yankees because, well, once again, ladies and gentlemen, it's another week where the New York Yankees want to play well, and then we got a big series going in. So this is what I talk about. I know it seems like I'm repeat the show, but this is how the Yankees season has been in general. I talk about it every week. One week they look great. One week they look terrible. Which week are we going to get, or which team are we going to get at the Yankees? We're going to get the team that we've seen the past couple of nights that were trailing, but found that way to come back, that never say die attitude that we loved about the Yankees for the past couple of years? Or are we going to see the team that got swept by the Detroit Tigers or the Boston Red Sox? But let me ask you this. What is the main reason for it? Is it the return of Luke Voit? Or Joe's going to love this because we have bashed this man for quite some time. But is it the Kraken? Gary Sanchez, the jolt, the bat. Is it the Kraken? Or is it the Luke Voit? Or could it be both? Ted, I'll start with you.
No. Joe, all yours, buddy. Go first.
All right, yeah. Listen, I think this is a no-brainer. Luke's only been back for a few days. Although, look, I've said this before, and I'll say this again. To me, what Luke Voit does in stretching that lineup out, where you can hide someone like Gary that's not hitting, or you can hide Glaber when he's not hitting, or whoever. You could bury anybody in that lineup. But when you don't have Luke Voit, and all of a sudden everybody's got to move up a spot when someone's struggling, you're in a spot where you're probably going to hurt the team. Mm-hmm. The Yankees have 29 home runs in their last 14 games. They had 11 in the previous 14. That's the thing we've been talking about. Mm-hmm. Where's the power? Home run or strikeout? Well, it's been mostly strikeouts and singles. So you're seeing the power now. Well, as for Gary Sanchez, in the last month, in the last 23 games of the month, he's got a .338 batting average with 8 home runs and 18 RBI. He's now second on the team in home runs.
Now, Joe, what do you think is the reason for this? Like, really, this is, I mean, for a guy that we've been bashing, and all Yankee fans, and the New York media, the team, for him to kind of have like a rejuvenated bounce back, a kick in the rear end. What do you think is the main reason? Is it the stance? Is it just?
I was just going to say, funny you say kick, because that leg kick was not doing anything for him. On the home run last night, I don't remember who made the call. Might have been, I don't know, maybe Paul O'Neill. Somebody said that pitch, he'd been swinging through it all year. Mm-hmm. Hadn't been able to connect with it. Now with the shorter stride, absolutely murdered that ball, and he's been doing it the last couple weeks. The other thing, the narrative, and you guys know how much I hate this, about what a lazy piece of, that he is.
Yeah.
And then you talk to Aaron Boone or Brian Cashman or his teammates, and they're like, nobody works harder than Gary Sanchez. No one's more embarrassed by his play than Gary Sanchez. Nobody wants to turn it around more than Gary Sanchez does. You can go into the Yankee chat room, get rid of him, he's a lazy bum. That guy's trying his brains out. CeCe went after some people on Twitter the other day who were bashing Gary, and he suggested that, why don't you try hitting a major league fastball, and then you could run your mouth. How's that sound?
I could.
Look, we said a few weeks ago, 2 weeks doesn't make a season. Well, now we're past the 3 week, going into the 4 week mark, and Gary's definitely back. And not only that, not for nothing, Chapman came in the other night, was very wild, threw some balls in the dirt. How good did Gary look on that?
He made 3.
How good did he look at Teddy? Now, you know what I mean? Listen.
I'm sorry to cut you off. One, he turned his head. And listen, But there was another in the same inning where they blew it, where Chapman walked in the runner, and then we were down 1, and we ended up winning because of Gary's home run. But I even joked to my partner because he's so critical of Gary. Now, it's not that we don't like Gary. It's just there's, like you said, there's such an expectation. He does get a lot of hate, maybe deservingly so. The thing is, when you say like work ethic, no one sees that. No one cares about that. The average person doesn't care about that. They just want to see production. So if you could be batting practice, hitting off the tee for 5 hours before the game. If you go 0 for 4, people are going to boo you. That's just kind of the reality of the situation and the kind of world we live in. But yeah, unbelievable plays in defense. I mean, he has played better. Listen, he's still not a stellar defensive. But Trev, you asked Joe the question. I think it's pressure. He's relaxed. There's no like like sometimes, Trev, when they have quarterback competitions in the spring or in this fall, right? Mm-hmm. Some guys, they just don't do well or there's pressure. But if you just gave them the job, they felt comfortable because there's no one leaning over their shoulder every time they're doing something. I feel like that's it. He kind of knows like it's his job again. Like it's his job. Just play ball. He doesn't have to worry like, oh my God, if I go 0 for 4, I'm not going to play for the next 3 games and Higgy's going to start. It's like if I go 0 for 4, no anything, I'll be back tomorrow and we'll rock and roll. Yeah, because it really is his job. He is really taking over the full-time role at catcher. And he's played much better. No, it's just been a huge. Listen.
One of the best benchings the Yankees have ever had. They benched a guy in the playoffs. They benched a guy again this year, and this time he responded. Maybe over the course of 5 days. Again, he after the series, like he didn't understand. Mm-hmm. It wasn't communicated to him that he had lost the job. Literally, he wasn't told you're not going to play because you suck. We're going with Higgy. He wasn't told that. And people are like, what is he, an idiot? You look at his numbers? Well, look at everybody else's numbers. How is everybody doing? Let me point out a couple things, by the way. Gary Sanchez has an on-base percentage of .344. That is 5 points higher than DJ LeMahieu. It is third on the team behind Judge and Stanton. So even though he's only hitting .240, he does have a .340 on-base percentage because, and I pointed this out when he first got benched, and I said, look, when he plays, he has to produce. And the first 3 games where he was spot starting to Higashioka, he walked in each of those games. And to me, that was better than anything else. He was taking pitches. My concern was you're going to play twice a week. You're going to go in there swinging for the fences, and you're going to strike out a lot. He didn't do that. He played when he played, and he performed. And slowly but surely, of course, as we've talked about, and I love the guy, but Higgy's not an everyday guy. It caught up to him, and thank God. Yeah. Because imagine if a month ago, where we were with these 2 catchers, you had 2 guys hitting under 200.
We were at a point a month ago, Joe, that we were thinking maybe Sanchez is going to get DF'd, designated for a DA, designated for assignment, or get traded. At this point now, he's just
at $6 million. It was more than it was. It was certainly something you could ponder them cutting this guy loose, and it's not a lot of money to eat to just send them packing an outlook. You got the guy back. Yeah. You got the guy back who you first saw in 2016, who was going to be a superstar. And here's the thing about the catching, and I agree with you a lot on most of what you said there, Teddy, all of what you said. But I think that he's not going to be a good defensive catcher ever. He never is. But, right, we've always said this. As long as he's hitting bombs and getting on base, dude, then great. But he's catching more confidently because he's hitting now. Mm-hmm. And those things affect each other in a big way, especially when you're in New York and everybody's hating on you.
100%.
No, absolutely. Trev, you asked the question, is it Voit or Kraken?
Let me answer why I want to say Voit and why people want to say, well, why Voit? He's since being back, he only has 4 hits out of 13 at bats, got 5.
But aren't they 3 home runs?
But no, the reason it's not even the offense, it's just his presence. It's kind of like when Swisher was the Yankee on the Yankees, he brought that energy, he brought that like positivity, enthusiasm. I'm not talking about his offensive skills. Talking about his presence, just being on the field, that energy. It felt like the Yankees were lacking that throughout the year. And I think all of us can agree on that. That you see once Voit comes back, he just feels like he brings that presence, that jolt. Whereas Gary, I would say why he has brought the jolt is is because of the way he's playing offensively. Coming in clutch the other night with the big game-tying home run, and then Voit finishes later on in the inning. That's all I'm trying to say is you see how these two guys, and Ted, you're probably going to say Bolt. I would say Bolt as well because of not just the offense of Voit, but the ability for him to bring, let's go, guys. Let's go. What the freaking New York Yankees? Why are we playing like garbage? Why are we struggling? We're better than this. There's a reason why the past 4 or 5 years we've been at the top of everybody's preseason World Series favorites because we are the New York Yankees. We have the talent. We just need the kick in the ass. And it feels like that's what Voit has brought since he's come off injury. I know he's still struggling. He has a lot of strikeouts, but he's hitting the ball. He's hitting the long ball. But that's why I'd say that's why I put Voit in this is because of that positive energy, that enthusiasm, and it looks like they're feeding off of it. And with the Kraken, obviously his offensive ability right now, he's playing out of his mind.
Even more importantly, when Rookie Odor doesn't have to play 5 or 6 times in a week, then just Voit being back, physically being there, able to play first, and LeMahieu being able to play second means that Odor's on the bench for a day. So maybe the guy's now playing 3 hits yesterday.
See, that's why Cashman gets back. I understand why Cashman gets bashed for his moves at times, but then moves like that, little under-the-radar moves, Odor, who was supposed to be a star with the Texas Rangers, it didn't pan out for him. But since he's come to the Yankees, he feels like he's another guy that brings that energy, comes in clutch when the Yankees need a big home runs, a little base hits. He feels like he's brought that presence as well. And that's where Cashman should get some credit at times. I know he gets bashed a lot for the moves, but moves like that is why that's why Brian Cashman's still the GM of the New York Yankees right now.
Well, his home run the other night would have been the game-winning hit if it wasn't for Chapman's debacle. Now, I know we're not.
How are you feeling about that?
Hold on. First of all, let me get to my point.
Oh yeah, now you want to tell me to hold on? I got to tell you to hold on all the time.
You know how it goes.
I got to go get the gabagool.
Oh, shut up. You know how the older brother. So you're right. You were going down the road I was going to go to, and I was going to answer your question too. It is a little concern with Chapman lately, but I feel like we've seen this narrative in this book before. He goes through these stretches where he just loses it. When he walked the guy the other night to load the bases, I go, we're in trouble. Because if he has bases loaded, he can't throw a strike. It's something mindset. You could tell. It was like 4 straight balls. It is concerning that he's blown a couple saves and opportunities the past couple weeks.
But doesn't that get you nervous?
But you know, at the end of the day, you still want him on the mound. But when you see him, he's just going through a bad stretch. What do you want to say?
It's concerning because we've seen this not just in the regular season, but we've seen in the past 2 years in the postseason. Do
me a favor. Name me a closer in Major League Baseball right now that doesn't go through this once in a while. Okay, if his name isn't Mariano Rivera, the great Papelbon, Trevor Hoffman, Billy Wagner, all these great. They had the same stretches. We just pick on him because
I have a problem with what you just said. You said Mariano Rivera, and then you said the great Jonathan Papelbon.
No,
he was joking.
You want to retract that statement again?
But when I say that, you know what I'm saying.
No. Look, Mariano, I know Mariano's unbelievable. But what I'm saying with Chapman, we have Chapman right now, and what we've seen from him, he does go throughout the season. But I'm talking about when it comes down to postseason. And the last time we've seen him in the postseason, he gave up a game-leading home run, which eventually ended the season. 2 years ago was the home run to Altuve. Like, we've seen this enough to say it's concerning. It's concerning as the closer. Your job is to come in. You have one specific job. You come in, you get 3, you get 4, you get 5 outs, and to see Chapman, who is dynamite when he's on.
Not everyone can, Trev. It's not that easy.
That's why I say it. We've seen it.
It's not that easy. Even Mariano said the hardest 3 outs in the baseball game is the last 3 outs. Okay? Now, let's get back to the question at hand. You said Voit and Kraken. You're both right. And, of course, I'd be the guy that can't break the tie. Because Joe started his conversation.
What else is new?
Shut up. Joe started the conversation by saying Voit does add value to this lineup tremendously. He stretches the lineup out. DJ doesn't have to play first. Now he can play second. When Gio gets hit in the shin, now he can play third. Okay, if we had a good replacement to take Glaber and sit him down, he'd be sitting down. But Gio got hurt because Glaber right now is a big problem. let's get at it. Voit adds value, and Trev, you're 100% right when you talk about Voit. He adds what Dad used to say about Swisher, excitement. He's like the heartbeat of the team. Maybe that's the best way I could put it. He adds blood flow. They're almost stale and stiff when he's not there. You can just see it. He hit the first bomb and just excitement, bang. And
it looked like plain Jane.
There's just an exuberance that he brings to the lineup. Plus, he brings power, and he has been clutch before.
Now hold on,
So with that being said, and Joe's right though. Voit playing first and stretch that lineup out. When I told you before, David Cohn said the gauntlet. DJ at 1, Judge at 2, Sanchez at 3, Voit at 4, Stanton at 5. Name 5 guys that you like that has a better top 5 in the entire baseball. 5 guys
how often do you see that lineup of LeMahieu, Judge,
not
Stanton?
often.
That's insane.
Realistically, these guys haven't been hurt that much this year. It's a little bit here and there, but the biggest thing that we've talked about since day one is the inconsistency and the negative part of it, where we can't seem to get. If, God forbid, we ever got all of them hot at the same time. Good luck to Major League Baseball. I wouldn't want to face that lineup. But with this lineup and what we're seeing now is, to Joe's point, now just look at Gary. It's only been him. And he's carried this team the 2 weeks. And that's the type of impact him and any one of those 5 guys can make in this lineup. But especially Gary, because he just seems to take the pressure, because you kind of know Judge is going to do his thing. Stanton's going to be hot for 2 weeks and then be sleeping in the next 2 weeks. But Gary just balances it out. He really does. He kind of the blood flow, because it's like, okay, you want to pitch around Judge? Well, we're going to go to Gary. Oh, no, you don't. No. So you're both right. They both have value. But really right now, I'd say Gary is the one that's really pushed them over the top. So if I had to pick a guy right now, to your question, you said got to make a choice. It's Gary right now because he's been doing it longer and he's been consistently. But you are right, though. Voit has added a little jolt. And look at it. We're talking about the question right now. Both of them had a major impact in the game the other night. Gary hits the home run. There's nobody right now that you want up.
Yes, they did too. They both hit home runs.
But there's no one. No, Voit did not hit the home. He just missed it later on. But that scored the run. Wade from second. But he did hit a home run early in their game, and he's got 3 home runs since he's come back. But there's no person on the Yankee lineup right now that you want in clutch right now other than Gary Sanchez.
Joe,
hold on. The biggest problem I do still have with this Yankee team is, just like they lost on Tuesday, was they had 11 runners left on base, and they were 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position, and it almost came to bite them in the ass on Wednesday again. Thank God for Gary's clutch home run and Voigt's ability to take over and win it afterwards, because they are still, and that's going to be the question with this team, is, they can hit home runs, but can they get a run in when a man's on third with less than 2 outs? That's going to be the difference of this team winning a World Series or not winning a World Series, because you can't go 0 for 9 with 11 men run on scoring position, because go to the Royals. The Royals suck. They are garbage. They're going to be the top 3 picks next year. You need to be able to move runners over and score.
They're not that bad.
I'm telling you, Trev, your epiphany of getting Trevor Story for Glaber might happen sooner or later, because he is a major, major problem.
Joe, let me ask you this. You see the offense, it's a dominant righty lineup. Do you think the Yankees desperately need to get that lefty? And I'm talking about like a power lefty guy in that lineup, because having the dominant righty, we've seen this over and over again in the playoffs, where it seems easy for pitching because they got the righties. They don't need to do much. But adding a lefty, do you think the Yankees need to I won't say desperately, but need to add that lefty bat in the lineup?
You don't even have a lefty starting pitcher.
Because you don't have – because Hicks is gone, and Odor is a left. He's only a lefty, right? He's a switch. Okay. So you really don't have a true lefty other than Gardy. I mean, realistically. So do the Yankees go look – is that their main priority going into the trade deadline?
I think an outfielder is definitely on the menu. Obviously, I think if you could listen, if you're looking at the 2 biggest problem childs right now on the Yankees, it's Brett Gardner and Clint Frazier, neither of whom, I mean, both are still around 200 and have showed Glaber. Well, so Joe, listen, Glaber
50 right now in the last.
Listen, he was up to 272. Glaber was.
And now he's back.
And now it dropped. I understand that. He's back in his little slump. I get all that. Dude, he's like 2 weeks away. He'll be back to 260 next week. He'll be fine. I'm not really worried about Glaber.
I'm very worried. Striking out at 35% right now.
It's not good. It's not. Listen,
he looks so unbalanced.
Yes. Well, look, whatever they did to Sanchez, now they need to focus on Glaber.
He's also
figure it out.
Trev, I don't know if you've seen it. Joe, he's got such a high leg kick. He needs to go back to. Remember when A-Rod used to have the high leg kick?
That's
and
like
they took that away from him, and they said, just pick it up and put it right back down. He's got to something
Gary's
is off.
Thing.
I watch him every night. There's two different ways of striking out. You could strike out looking good. He's striking out looking awful. I mean, he's swinging at pitches a foot off the ground, 10 feet outside. I mean, it's baffling. It's almost like he's not visually seeing the ball whatsoever. He's just going up there and just like, I'm going to swing and hope it makes contact. And praying.
Contacts last year?
I don't know. I don't remember.
I think Glaber got contacts last year.
Because he was wearing he's still wearing the glasses, right? He's still wearing those?
Yeah.
I don't know what to say about Glaber Torres. Maybe like we did with Gary Sanchez, maybe the late kick is a problem, but they got to start figuring out Glaber because this is a guy that's very young. He's 24 years old.
Trade him.
Superstar potential.
Pitcher.
But right now he's taking – it's kind of like the Daniel Jones thing. Like you're hoping that this kid takes that next step, but he took the step backwards right now. I mean, Glaber, when he came up, he was one of the prized possessions of – the prospects, and then you see him; he's going backwards. It's kind of like
trade him for Schwartz. Trade him for Schwartz.
No, we need Trevor Story. You know
we should trade him for Max Scherzer. Bring him in, baby. I want the Warrior. We need to start pitching.
Yeah, let me answer your question though specifically. You asked personally, do I think a lefty? No, yeah. I don't think they need it. Now, if I'm Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone and I'm in a room together with my analytics guys, they're all telling me we need a lefty power bat. Let's find a lefty power center fielder. That's what they're saying right now.
Yeah,
so for the Yankees, yes, I'm certain that's on their mind, that they see that as probably the number one thing that needs to be addressed. I think you'd certainly like to get another starter in this rotation. Although, listen, if Michael King can pitch like he's pitched, he's serviceable enough.
Did you see Severino? He was bouncing around the field the other day.
I guess that injury wasn't as bad as we all thought. He was like maybe done for the year. He looks like he got
like crippled. He was like Paul Pierce in the playoff game where he left in a stretcher and all of a sudden he was magically okay. It's like, I'm okay.
No, it's like a soccer player.
Remember that playoff game?
So, yeah.
Trev, here's my thing. I don't think you need a lefty power at bat. You don't need a power guy because you have enough power. Now, a lefty at bat would be a bonus to this lineup to add balance. You just need a guy that makes contact.
Let me ask you this real quick, Teddy. What would you say if I told you that 27 championships have all come with at least two left-handed power bats in the lineup?
Well, I'd say they didn't have 9 righties that can hit the ball like we do. So if we could just get a lefty, if we could just get a lefty guy who can make contact like a DJ, like a Gio, and can play center field or any other position, because I tell you one thing, Andujar has added balance to that outfield, and he's a lot better than people thought he would be, and he might end up taking Clint Frazier's job, to be honest with you, because Glaber and Clint Frazier are automatic outs right now. The other night they were 0 for 9 combined with like 7 strikeouts. So the thing is, Clint Frazier was on this team to hit the ball. That's what he was known for, and now he can't hit the ball, which is another thing that's disheartening. And I'm thinking, Trev, I reference a lot of times with the football. I'm thinking some of these guys just need a change in scenery. Something is not clicking. So hey, I know you're like, well, what are you going to get Clint Frazier? Someone's going to look at that guy and go, there's potential there, okay? And I thought about this the other day. The 2 big trades of Miller and Chapman were Glaber and Clint Frazier, and both of them are the biggest liabilities on our team right now. And they were going to be our 2 young studs going forward to team up with Gary and Sanchez. Gary and Judge.
Well, I'm not convinced that. I mean, I think not for nothing, but if you're Glaber, again, I'm going to use COVID. I really do. And
no, he showed up fat last year to the thing. He was overweight and he was like, I couldn't get to a gym. baloney, because you could get to a line. You play for the New York Yankees. You could find a gym. You can work out a facility. That's a lack of professionalism. That's a lack of professionalism. And these, Joe, it's not like these guys are going through streaks. They have not hit well whatsoever. Gleyber.
Sure, I understand that. You just pointed out though that another team will see that guy and be like, "Oh, there's plenty of upside to this guy."
Well, Tampa
maybe a change of scenery. How's Ford doing in Tampa?
I don't know. Is he even playing?
I'm sure he's probably already got 4 or 5 homers. Him and Topman going to be in the All-Star game.
Topman's playing pretty well with the Giants.
Yeah, dude, Topman's been fantastic. Although the hitting's fallen off a little bit, but I think he had the first week they traded him. He had 2 home run. He robbed 2 home runs in the same week, dude. Back-to-back nights, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
While the Yankees were literally trying to fill the lineup card, who could play the outfield? Wade, get a glove. Meanwhile, Topman's hitting homers and jumping over fences. He has cooled off a bit with the average, which, thank God. You hate when that happens, don't you?
Yeah, right?
I'm telling you, I'm waiting for when Mike Ford in September hits his 20th of the season. And we're like, oh, God, no it.
Yeah, in the playoff. Let me ask you this. What do we expect, honestly, last thing, and then, Joe, if you have your one more thing, I'll let you finish up with that. What do we expect from this big series against the Sox? Because last time we played the Sox, they came into town. They took care of business, sweeping the New York Yankees the first time since 2011. What do you expect on this side going into Fenway? Huge series, too.
Well, here's what you can't have. You can't get swept again.
Yeah.
Or you'll find yourself 7 games behind Boston, who's only in second place, obviously. So, that's got all the potential to be a serious problem if you're the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
It was a rough series back in June when they played. That was when I insisted Michael King never start a game again. My opinion on that has changed. Game 2 didn't go well. They could have had game 3, obviously lost it in extra innings. It was a heartbreaking series and came off the heels of losing a game to Minnesota. So at that point, it was a 4-game losing streak. And, you had every reason to think this team is terrible. Mm-hmm. And all you're doing is losing to the teams in front of you. And we had Toronto coming up a couple series. And obviously that went well. Yeah. But this thing on June 4th, 5th, and 6th, after that series, you lost 4 in a row, Tampa, the 3 to Boston. It looked like the Yankees could, 8.5 back, I think, at that point. It could have got bad quick. Had they gone to Buffalo and gotten swept by the Buffalo Blue Jays, you know what I mean? Things would have been catastrophic at that point. You could conceivably have seen the Yankees 10 games back. Mm-hmm. Instead, and we were joking about this last week, which Yankee team's going to show up? Once again, it was the one we really like a lot. Thank God. Yeah, so, I do expect the way this team's playing, and I think the fact that you've got Voit back, that you've got Sanchez hitting, that you got him not only hitting and hitting bombs, but also catching pretty well. I like that. The last turn in the rotation, I feel like everybody did a good job. Obviously, Trae Young yesterday finally delivered a full-on performance. I think that was clearly the best he's looked. I still don't like that Herman will be masterful for 3 or 4 in a row and then have that game where he gives up 5 earned in 5 innings. So definitely thinking about a starting pitcher. But yeah, I feel like the Yankees will at least take 2 out of 3 here at home.
They have to.
They do. They definitely have to.
No, they're on the road. They're in Fenway.
That's right. That's right. My bad. That's right. They are in Fenway. Yeah. So again, tough place to play.
Good though.
Fans in the stands. You're gonna. For the first time in 2 years in Fenway. Oh, it's gonna be intense. This is like playoff baseball right now. If you're the Yankees,
yeah,
it's what is it? June 25th.
Yes. June 25th right now.
You are fast running out of time, and like I said, you're still competing with 3 other teams.
Yeah,
you've moved ahead of Toronto for now.
Yep.
But This is still a 4-team race. So it's not like, oh, we just got to keep pace with Boston. We just got to keep pace with Tampa. We just got to keep beating Toronto. All three of those things have to happen simultaneously going forward. A big weekend here in Boston will go a long way. Dude, imagine if the Yankees can sweep and close the gap with Boston to 1. Now, Tampa may win all three and stay 3 out of the Yankees, but still, you got to, whoever the Yankees have in front of them in the AL East, you got to beat them. You got to start beating these teams because they have not done that. They've got like a 385 winning percentage against the East. Yeah, that's bad.
Other than the Orioles, every game against the Blue Jays, against the Rays, and against the Red Sox from here on out are playoff-type games.
Yes.
And they need to take advantage of these games. And this is a huge start for this series. And we got to see how they play. We got to hope, like I say every week, is this going to be the Yankees of the past week that they start to win the games, or is it going to be like the Yankees where they go into Detroit and they get swept and then they continue to lose and we're like, here we go again?
Ted? You're throwing Herman, Montgomery, and Cole in this series. There are no excuses. There's no Michael King. There's no Ben Nelson. It's your 3 big guns are going to be thrown in this series.
Yep.
So this is you'll know what you have on Monday morning. We can talk about it Monday, and we'll know what this team is, I think, going forward the rest of the year.
Sounds good. Ted?
Similar to what we're going to talk about in a second after Joe leaves, your best players have to play biggest in the big games, right? So we're going to talk about PG-13. We're going to talk about Trae Young, 2 impactful players on their teams. Well, guess what? That's Gary Sanchez. That's Judge. That's Stanton. We can't be 0 for 12 with 6 Ks per night. We have to
be the better star players.
Here's the thing. They have a big 3. Martinez.
I'd say big 4.
I know, but I'll just say they're big 3 right now. Okay, whatever. Who cares? You want to add 4? You want to add 5? Whatever. Devers, Bogarts, and Martinez. Right. Well, we have Judge, Stan, and Sanchez. I'll do it that way. Our 3 got to be better than their 3.
Yep.
Their 3 can't be 6 for 12 with 5 RBIs, and and winning games. And our guys strikeout, pop up, single, ground out. No, we got to outplay their. That's why we have a big 3. That's why we have the gauntlet. DJ's got to come up the bat. Judge has got to slice the ball in right field. Sanchez has got to hit one off the wall on the rope for a single. And then we got to get a sac fly, and it's 2-0. That's how we got to play as the big guns.
Yep.
Because if our big guys play like they go in the tank and they play like some of the other guys under pressure, okay, then we're going to have an issue. Sorry, Dad's calling me. That's why I'm
keep talking. Don't get distracted. Keep talking.
The
star players. We need you to show up. I don't need you to get distracted.
Listen,
telling me star players.
Isn't that funny? He tells me to keep talking. Usually he wants me to stop talking.
Because the floor is yours, my man.
You know my point. Who cares? My point is the big-time players got to come up big in the game, okay? Enough of the crap with 0 for 12 and 10 Ks. Hit the ball over the damn fence, send it through Yorkie way, right up the rear ends, and let's go.
Joe, you got one more thing for us?
I do. Garrett Cole has 13 starts where he's given up 2 runs or fewer this season. The Yankees are 8-5 in those games. However, overall, the Yankees are 8-7 in Garrett Cole's 15 starts. You got to do a lot better than that. I mean, that's yeah. Well, it's starting to feel that way. Also, I thought this was an interesting stat because we talk about the Yankees and not being a great fundamental team. They have scored 8 runs on wild pitches or passed balls this season, which is 3rd most in baseball. And it sort of makes up for some of the nonsense, some of the stupid things the Yankees have done on the base, and the fact that they leave too many guys on base. So they have fun away. By the way, 7 of the last 9 wins have been comeback wins. So you like to see that. Again, they don't play great fundamentals, but this team doesn't stop. Last 2 things, both about Gary, 7 home runs in the last 13 games. That's the most by any catcher in baseball this season over any 13-game stretch. He has a .753 slugging percentage in his last 23 games. That is the highest slugging percentage over any 23-game stretch for any catcher in baseball this season. So is Gary Sanchez the best catcher in baseball still? Probably. He probably is. And don't be shocked when he's at the All-Star game.
Attaboy. Joe is a happy man. Joseph, he's a happy man. We'll see how the New York Yankees fare against those Boston Red Sox this weekend. Joseph, as always, I know you're a happy man. Your boy Gary's coming back. Do you have a jersey of his by any chance?
Of course I have a crap jersey.
No, you don't. Do you?
I do. Yeah, I do. Not only do I have one, I got one for my son. I decided early on his favorite player was going to be that awesome catcher.
Joseph, as always, my man. Thanks, buddy.
Guys, have a good one. Kraken lives!
Well, as Ted was saying in the previous segment, he was talking about star players, and he was talking about the New York Yankees. As star players, their star players need to come up in the clutch and need to deliver for their team to be successful. The Boston Red Sox, to break three, has been able to do it. That's why they've swept the New York Yankees early on in the season with J.D. Martinez, Devers, and Bogarts. Well, now it's time for these three. It's time for the star players of the New York Yankees to deliver. That's how I feel about the NBA. Is it pouring? Oh, yeah. It's pouring. It's pouring right now. It's raining. It's raining like crazy here, bro. It's okay, buddy. Don't worry, Ted. As I'm trying to say, is the stars of the two teams that need it the most, that probably are the underdog, were the underdogs coming into this series, the Atlanta Hawks and the LA Clippers. Well, Trae Young has done Trae Young things this entire postseason, and he continued in game one as he gone for 48 points and was the best player on the court. Well, PG-13 hasn't been too shabby himself. The guy that's been getting knocked a lot throughout his postseason woes in the past couple of years has delivered for a team that is losing to most their best player in Kawhi Leonard. So can Trae Young, with up 1-0 right now, and PG-13 down 2-1 in the series, continue to lead their teams into a unexpected NBA Finals of 2021? We thought 2020 was weird for the NBA. Could you imagine 2021 with fans back in the LA Clippers versus the Atlanta Hawks? I don't care who you are, not even the smartest man in the world could tell you that was going to be happening, or the smartest bettor in the world was going to happen. There's no way. If somebody has the Finals, wow.
Well, Pat was telling me last week or 2 weeks
ago.
No
way somebody has that Finals.
Listen, Pat told me there was a guy. What was that? I was telling me it was on Barstool Sports. No, a guy put a $20,000 bet on the Atlanta Hawks to win the Eastern Conference at like I don't know, 50 to 1.
Beginning of the year?
No, like in January.
Wow.
He was in $20,000 for the Atlanta Hawks to win the Eastern Conference.
Wow.
Big payout. Big. So the question here is, can Trae and PG-13 continue to lead their teams? Absolutely. I just wanted to be correct on what I was going to say. So Paul George, 2021 playoffs, averaging 29 points on 45.5% shooting. He has been everything the Clippers could have asked for so far in this playoffs. And if it wasn't for his mishap, which is very unfortunate, because you never want to see a guy
he's a good free throw shooter too.
Fail under the pressure. But the other night, him missing both free throws, which he's an 86% free throw shooter, 84, 85%. I couldn't believe he missed both of them. I thought he hit at least one or the two. He hits both of those free throws. Clippers are up 2-1 easily. And can they lead them? Absolutely. The Clippers in both the series have come back and won both series down 2-0. And I like where the Clippers at. Their depth. They have so many good pieces to this team. They are made as a championship team. It kind of reminds me of the Lakers of last year. They have a little bit of everything. They have edge with Reggie Jackson and Patrick Beverly. They have great veterans in Marcus Morris. Zubac played phenomenal last night as a big man. Paul George is the star that you need. I like Tyronn Lue's coach. He doesn't have favoritism. You could see one game Patrick Beverly plays like 5 minutes, another game he plays 35 minutes. He has a great sense and feel for the game. But to your other guy, Trae Young, he's been phenomenal. I mean, the Atlanta Hawks have won every game one right now on the road. They beat the Knicks in game one. They beat Philly in game one, and they win in Milwaukee in game one. And that's what you need to do when you're the visiting team. You got to win one of the two games to bring back home court advantage back to you. I like where the Atlanta Hawks are at.
Hold on. Is it Trae's greatness, or is it because of the balance of the team, the role players that are stepping in? John Collins delivering, Kevin Huter.
Well, here's the thing. It's Trae Young's greatness. It really is. Because Bogdanovich is dealing with an injury and he hasn't looked the same.
He's a key point.
And here's the other thing. Milwaukee's going to have to change their lineup. Brook Lopez is going to have to be a bench guy. Brook Lopez is not going to be able to play in this series. And I know that's going to affect Milwaukee, but Giannis might have to be the 5, and they're going to have to go small in this lineup because when they run the high pick and roll with Lopez as the second defender, he's dropping back in the lane, which gives Trae Young the 12 to 15-foot pull-up, or he can beat him with the floater all day long. If you go smaller and make Giannis the 5, that will definitely make Atlanta's life a lot tougher. Jay Will explained it very well last night on the countdown right before the other game. But Trae Young has been phenomenal. You know, you want to knock this guy, his size. He's kind of like a little gnat. He's annoying, but he's been phenomenal in this playoffs. He's been clutch when he's needed to. We talked about it last week in Philly where like he was 3 for 17, but when it mattered most in the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter against Philly, clutch threes, great passing, no turnovers, making all the right plays. He's done everything you could have asked for when Atlanta traded for him with the Doncic trade. And I think the Clippers are built for the comeback.
You think the Hawks have what do you think about that? You think the Hawks have won that trade so far?
No, I think both teams have won. I think
you got to think about hold on, in the sense of what the young core they have, but also they're 3 wins away from going to an NBA Finals, and the Dallas Mavericks are trying to figure out a GM and a coach. It looks like Jason Kidd looks like he's going to be the next head coach.
Here's my thing. I would look at the teams and say the Atlanta Hawks have done a better job of supporting Trae Young. Their best defender.
They threw it through the draft, though.
Their best defender, DeAndre Hunter, got hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Top 3 pick.
Cam Reddish isn't even playing.
Thank you very much. Another big-time wing, 6'8", 6'7" wing who can shoot the 3. They've done a very good job of supporting John Collins, Hurtle, Bogdanovich. They've done really well.
Trading for Capella, too.
Yes. I mean, listen, you don't look at that, but he adds defense, he adds rebounding, and he's the alley-oop. Yes. Listen, it's an alley-oop thing. It kind of reminds you of the DeAndre Hunter, Chris Paul thing when they were with the Clippers. Every piece fits for the Atlanta Hawks, and it's working well, and they're building on their confidence, and they're playing with confidence, and you can see it. I thought the other night, it was like 3 or 4 minutes left, and the Milwaukee was up like 8 or 9.
Yeah, they were trailing at one point.
And then all of a sudden I looked, and they were up, and I go, wow, and then they won the game, and they're playing with confidence. They look good. Both teams can win this series, and it's both going to be because of their stars. Because
you think Kawhi comes back in this series?
Honestly, no. I don't. But I don't think the Clippers need him. I think the Clippers can. Listen, am I rooting for the Suns? Absolutely. But I think the Clippers, the way they have played the past 2 games, they could easily come back and win this series. No, I shouldn't say easily. That's probably the wrong term. But they have the ability to come back and play. They looked like a different team last night. They looked
first game in Clippers history, a Western Conference Finals game.
They looked like the pit bull. They looked tougher. They looked more ready to play. And like I said, if Paul George hits 2 of those free throws, we're probably talking about a different series. They're up 2-1, and we were looking at the Suns going, this is a must-win game 4 for them. Instead of, hey, okay, if you win, you're up 3-1. If you lose, it's 2-2, and you still got 2 games back at your place, 2 out of 3.
I've been very impressed with Trae Young. He's emerged as almost to the tier of superstar. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. That man is killing it in the NBA playoffs. And people continue to doubt the Atlanta Hawks. I said that. Don't be surprised if they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. I should have probably picked them. But don't be surprised if they're in the NBA Finals because they have the formula to get to an NBA Finals. And, hell, they have the formula to win a title. They have a star. They have great depth. They have great role players that come in clutch when their star player is down. They have a great coach who has been through the playoffs, who has been in these situations before. So the Atlanta Hawks, don't be surprised, ladies and gentlemen, if they are representing the Eastern Conference in the NBA Finals. And the Clippers, well, Paul George has to continue to do his thing because he has – I know people want to bash him for all of his bad playoff woes, but he's delivering. He's delivering as the guy that we expect him to be, which is a top 10, top 15 player in this league. One more thing. Do you think the Hawks win? Do you think the Hawks go up to a commanding 2-0 lead tonight, or do we see a tie?
No, I think Milwaukee comes back. Drew Holiday shuts down Trae Young. And I don't say shut down, but you can't shut down great players. But you can easily –
You can only continue them.
Yes, and here's the thing. I think Milwaukee has to change the way they line up. I said Brook Lopez has to be a bench guy. I think they have to go small because you got to match the Atlanta Hawks' versatility and small ball play. Plus, it'll give you more flexibility to guard Trae Young instead of Lopez.
And, the Atlanta Hawks starting five, very athletic team.
You
need to have that athleticism around.
Well, and here's the other thing. I think Milwaukee plays bully ball tonight. I think Giannis needs to have that Game 7 type game against the Nets. He needs to come in and dominate like the 2-time MVP he is and do his thing. That's what he has to do. So I think Milwaukee takes advantage of that tonight and wins tonight. What do you got? Right. What do you got over there? You got a little message?
Yeah, it was from the earlier messages from Joe saying replying to our message. I don't know why I just got it. I'm gonna go with the Atlanta Hawks. Screw it. I'm gonna go with the Atlanta Hawks. You're
wrong, bro.
And then I'm going to go with the Suns to win tomorrow, go to commanding 3-1 lead. So we could be seeing a Suns-Hawks, in my view. Don't know what's going to happen, but this NBA playoffs has been The stars have played well. The superstars have played well. And there's been some unexpected moments, and we are on the verge of maybe another unexpected moment. A huge week in baseball as the New York Yankees take on the Boston Red Sox. I'll get to see the Yankees tomorrow, and I'll get to see the Yankees on Sunday Night Baseball as well, so I finally get to watch them.
I think if both NBA games both series go to 7.
I would love it. Sign me up for both games.
I truly believe that both games, I think the Clippers will find a way to push it 2-2. Suns will go back home, 3-2, 3-3, boom, boom, boom. Maybe Kawhi comes back in Game 7. But I also think Milwaukee's going to win tonight, and they'll push it to 7.
A lot of good going on. The NBA playoffs have been great. The NHL playoffs, Montreal Canadiens continue. Talk about unexpected. Continue their unexpected and shocking run as they are going to the Stanley Cup Finals. And who will they be playing? Are they going to be playing the Tampa Bay Lightning?
Game 7. Tonight
are they
going
to be playing the Tampa Bay Lightning? Are they going to be playing the New York
28 years ago, the Canadiens were last time in the finals.
Well,
1993.
We'll see what happens. These playoffs have been very, very unexpected, and it's been great. A huge series, like I said, with the New York Yankees against the Boston Red Sox. So we'll see how all of that turns out this weekend. A great sports weekend. Cannot wait. I know what I'll be doing this weekend. Working and watching sports. Nothing better. But ladies and gentlemen, we are Keys of the City. We're streaming on all social media platforms at Keys of the City. So subscribe, comment, share, or like. Clovercrest Media presents Keys to the City. We are out.
To the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, keys to the city, we're unlocking the statements.
Streaming every Friday.